Hi, in this video, I'm just going to give it a quick overview to my next game in the Until the Bitter End series of games. This game is solely focused on tank and armoured fighting vehicles. And there are over 40 counters per side. On the Allied side, you get Shermans, different tank destroyers, Stuarts, through to Pershing. And then on the Axis side, Panthers, Tigers, Jagdpanthers, Stugs, through to Tiger 2s and a Jagdtiger as well. The game uses a lot of the mechanics from the previous games, but it does introduce quite a few new ones as well. You don't need to have played or own any of the previous games. This game's completely standalone. Comes complete with all the rules, all the counter sheets, all the scenarios that you need. In this example, we've got two boards, two maps laid out here. The maps for this game are going to be completely geomorphic, so you can orientate them and lay them out in different configurations for the different scenarios as well. The game uses quite a few rules from the previous games. In particular, it's a chip pool game. So what that means, if you're not familiar with that mechanic, is that for every counter that you have in the game, you put a chit, one of these, for example, for the German Axis, and you put one of those per one of these into a cup. Same with the Allies as well. And then you blindly pull a counter from the cup, and if it's an Axis one, like this one here, for example, then that player would be able to activate one of their counters, and then with that counter you move and you fire, or you try and get it in a better defensive position. You can go hold down, and that's what these counters are here for, as well as for a few of the different gameplay areas. And what that means is that you never really know whose turn it's going to be next. You might get 3 or 4 pulls in your favour in a row, or you might not. So it has that sort of more sense of unpredictableness to it, I think, which I really enjoy in games. The rule set, because this is the third game, the rule set I've been able to iterate on and get feedback from the community, get feedback from other gamers, and refine it over time. But as I said, this game has introduced a few new elements. So, for example, hex orientation of the vehicle is really important, so that when you're firing another vehicle, you can work out whether you're firing and hitting it from the front or from the rear of its armour. Generally speaking, in this period, this historic period, tanks had better armour at the front than they did at the side, certainly than they did at the rear. So there's a tactical element of trying to position your vehicles, your tanks, into positions so that you can get fire on them from the flank, and even better if you can from the rear as well. The game's pretty quick to play and set up. In this example, this is a 2-map game. There are some scenarios that will use 4 maps. There are some scenarios that we just use 1 with just a smaller number of counters. So it's versatile in the game time that you have. So you can play a game comfortably. The smaller games in that half an hour, through to some of the larger games may take an hour or maybe even 2 hours, depending on the scenario that you pick. And I did that deliberately so that you could you could choose a scenario for that time that you have to play. Because it's a print and play game, like with all the other Until the Bitter End games, designed it very specifically so there's not a huge number of sheets to print out. The maps themselves are about 3 sheets of what I would call A4 here in the UK, but to letter in the US. You also get the files in one big piece, so if you want to send it to a print shop, you can do, or you can print it at home. And the same with the counters. Currently, there's about 3 sheets of counters to print out. You can print out more for some of the larger games, but it basically means, I had an objective to enable people to print out the game and start playing with 6 sheets of paper. That's all that you need to start playing. Some of the larger scenarios you need to print out a little bit more, more of the maps, maybe more of the counters, etc. But hopefully that just sort of gives you an overview. In addition, I will do videos that go into all the specific mechanics, movement, combat, etc. So that if you haven't played the first games, there's a video there for you. Or if you have played the first games and you want to see how this game's different, you'll be able to see that from those videos as well. So, yeah, thanks for watching.